What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I got another really awesome video for you guys. As you can see right now, we're on the coast of California. We're out here in Bodega Bay, and today I want to make a video about what's the main difference between a drone like the Mavic 3 Pro versus a Cinewhoop FPV drone. These are two completely different types of drones and they produce very different results. So use case, you can be flying the Mavic 3 Pro, getting a bunch of cinematic shots around the coastline here with the rocks, and I'm gonna be flying really low and really trying to showcase the really awesome shots you can get with the Cinewhoop drone. Although we're not at the main spot right now, I really had to pull over right now because right here, this rock right here, you can't see it from here, but there's actually a tunnel inside that rock. So I really want to try flying through the rock, through that tunnel, and see what kind of shot we can get with this rock here. So without further ado, let's get it.
Let's get it.
All right, guys, so right now I'm gonna dial in my GoPro Hero 11 settings. First, I'm gonna go over here. Make sure you always format your SD card before you get started. Same thing for you, you can format your SD card, everyone in there.
Yep.
Next, I'm gonna change my resolution to, I really like shooting in the highest resolution possible. So that's gonna give me 5.3K, 8x7, and 24 frames here. And next, I just want to double check to make sure the ISO is the lowest it could be. Let's do ISO max 100. Let's do shutter 1/48 since we're shooting 24 frames. 10-bit on, bitrate high. Let's just do auto white balance. And I kind of like the natural color profile actually. I think it produces pretty good results. And perfect. I know it doesn't look that sunny here, but with all these settings right now, it does look a little bright, so I'm gonna have to put in my ND4 filter. So for the Mavic 3 Pro, we're gonna be shooting in the highest resolution possible again. So let's do 5.1K. And let's just do nice cinematic 24 frames here. And it's up to you. You could either shoot in auto or pro mode, doesn't really matter. Up to you. All right, guys, looks like we are all set to go. Yusuke, you can launch the Mavic 3. All right, guys, we're all good to go. Mavic is up in the air getting shots right now. Yusuke's flying around. Got a full battery here. GoPro is rolling. And the sunset is starting to look really nice over there. It's nice and purple over there, so let's get it. Launching. I really love flying at the beach because it's just so vast, it's so wide open, and there's nothing obstructing my connection. I can fly all the way over here to this rock out here, and I still have a full 50 megabytes of connection. I really love flying at the coastline for that reason. It's a little windy, but that's why I brought my 3.5-inch Cinewhoop. It can handle the wind pretty well here. So see this little gap right here? This is the gap I was talking about. So I'm not exactly sure yet if I want to hit that gap. I'm a little bit worried that I might lose connection inside that rock because the rock is pretty thick here. Woo! I hit it. So I went through the gap here. I wasn't going as fast as I would like, but with FPV, you really want to weigh your risk versus reward because I really do not want to lose my drone out there. Have my full-size GoPro Hero 11 here, so that's what FPV is all about. You always just want to be balancing the risk versus reward. I might hit it again going a little bit faster, but we'll see. Woo! Okay, that was way better. See, that way the wind was pushing me through the hole, so I was able to go through there a lot more smoother. When you go the opposite way, the wind is actually pushing against you, so it makes it a lot harder to go through the gap. So always keep in mind the wind direction. Woo! Whew. All right guys, that was super scary hitting that gap there. I really did not want to crash, but honestly that was pretty fun and I thought the shots turned out really good. So since I really like that shot, I'm probably going to switch SD cards so I do not lose my shots. So yeah, I'm going to switch it out and then I'm probably going to change locations and get some more shots somewhere else. So that was really awesome. All right, so right here we got the Master Yusuke getting some Mavic 3 Pro shots. So yeah, as you can see, like the Mavic 3 it's a very different look, you know? You can't really say one is better over the other. Like obviously FPV footage is a lot more exciting, but honestly you can't beat traditional Mavic type shots. I mean, this is a straight up like helicopter type shot. This thing looks sick. So we're probably gonna fly a few more minutes with the Mavic 3 Pro since the battery's so good, but then we might switch to another spot so we can get some more shots further down the coastline. Right now we switched to the 3X lens on the Mavic 3 Pro. That's why I really like the Mavic 3 Pro because there's just so much versatility. There's so much different types of shots you can get. So that's why I really like switching between the 1X, 3X, 7X lens to really try to get some more variety in the edit. All right guys, right now I'm flying my first pack in this new location here. All right guys, so right now I'm flying my first pack at this new location here. And to be completely honest, this is probably one of the most sick spots I've ever flown FPV because it's so vast here. I have really good connection. Obviously, since I'm here at the ocean, there's nothing obstructing my connection. There's nothing between me and the drone here. I can fly all the way out here with a full 50 megabytes. And the sunset is looking really good here right now. All right, guys, I'm super hyped to be flying FPV at the spot here. Oh my God, this is literally probably one of the most sick spots I've ever flown at because I have a really good vantage point here. I have a really good visual line of sight for wherever the drone may be. Obviously I'm wearing goggles, but the connection is just so good here, and I really like all these cool rocks here. There's just so much cool kind of like point of interest that I could fly around. I could do really cool kind of like weaving between the rocks here. And also the sunset is looking really good. I was a little bit worried because it's kind of cloudy here, and it even said it might rain here, but I really like the contrast it's adding. It's really diffusing the light here. It really looks like a painting right now. So we don't have too much light left, so that's why I want to get as many flights in as I can here. But overall, I'm extremely hyped to be here. I mean, this sunset looks freaking gorgeous. Oh my God, this is awesome. When you're flying FPV especially, you really want to be mindful of literally where you're standing because you want to ensure that you have the best connection. For example, I could be in the car because it's kind of cold and I want to stay low key, but honestly, when you really want to make sure that you don't lose connection, you want to be as close to the edge as possible. So that's why once I put the goggles on, I make sure I kind of stand over here by the ledge so my goggles can see everything. My remote controller has a really good connection. That's extremely important because obviously the last thing we want is the drone to go down here. So that's why it's really important, literally where you stand and where you launch from when you're flying FPV.
Telemetry recovered.
Right now the sun's starting to poke out now, so we're gonna get some really nice contrast, some really nice light flares. So let's try to take advantage of that. Make sure the GoPro's rolling. Stand over here by the edge. I absolutely love this spot because I could go all the way over here. All right, guys, it's looking a little bit dark on here, so I'm gonna go ahead, go over here and bump up my ISO max to, let's go to ISO 400 for this next flight. We only got a little bit of light left, so gotta make sure I'm really fast. And since the sun is dipping over there, it actually looks way better when I'm flying from this direction into the sun. Obviously, that's cinematography 101. You always want to be shooting backlit because when you shoot this way, it's a lot more noisy, it's a lot more lower light. So always shoot into the sunset whenever you can. Looks way better. All right, guys, next flight, ISO 400. Let's do it. Pretty cool. There's a rock over here with a bunch of cormorants over here just chilling. And then lower resolution to 4K. 4K 24. All right, guys, so that last flight I just did, that was honestly probably the sickest shot I've ever gotten in my life. There was like a group of about 5 or 6 black birds flying super close to the water, and they were basically just kind of weaving around, and I was literally trailing them, following right behind them, and honestly, those shots were so sick. I felt like I was in Top Gun because they're really easy to follow, like, and they're really predictable. Like, it seems like they didn't really notice I was there, honestly, but like I was just following them around, and they were like going everywhere. I got some really nice backlit shots, some really nice contrasty shots going this way. Like, oh my God, that was freaking amazing. So we got a little bit of light left, probably about like 10 more minutes, so let's try to fly. A few more packs left. Let's get it. All right, guys, as usual, it's always really important to always be reviewing your footage, because the last thing you want is to go home, check your footage, and notice everything's underexposed. So that's why after each flight, you always want to go double check and make sure that your ISO is good and see what you could do to make the footage as good as possible. And also bring a bunch of SD cards, because after those really sick shots I just got, I switched out my SD card because I really want to make sure I don't lose that footage, because with GoPros, FPV, you might crash actually. So if you really want to save a clip, make sure you change that SD card, switch it out, and get some new flights in. I think that's really important. So yeah, sounds looking good. See guys, there's seagulls, there's a ton of birds here, so they're all trying to go for the drone. So that's why it's really important to have a good line of sight on your drone. Make sure that they don't take you down. So yeah guys, really important to keep a bunch of spare SD cards, especially with FPV. I mean, drones use so many SD cards. I got SD card here in the GoPro, my goggles, in the Mavic 3, in the camera right now. There's just so much memory involved. So yeah, make sure you buy a bunch of those. All right guys, I think we got enough time for one more flight. Light is looking really good. And there's actually a rainbow over there, which looks pretty sick. Yusuke, all the way over there, there's a rock and there's a bunch of black birds on it. Did you see it? All the way over here where my drone is, there's a rock over there with a bunch of birds on it. Okay. Try to get some orbits of it with the 3X and 7X. You see it? Yeah, there's like a shit ton of black birds on there. They're just chilling, yeah. But be careful over there. Unfortunately, the GoPro Hero 11 is not that good at low light. So once the sun dips down and you approach blue hour, the GoPro is not that great. And that's why the Mavic 3 is so good. The Mavic 3, it really excels on low light. You could shoot well into blue hour, probably even 30 minutes after the sun sets, because it has a really large sensor, that 4/3 sensor, and you could push up the ISO pretty good and you can shoot in D-Log. There's also a night mode in there as well. So the Mavic 3 has really good low light features, whereas the GoPro, not so much. I haven't experimented too much with Topaz AI or Neat Video. I probably should, but from my experience as an FPV pilot, this is around the time where the video starts to get really noisy. And honestly, I'm already really happy with the shots I got. I don't think I could beat the shots I already got. All right, guys, so overall, I'm really excited about the shots we got here. And I'm really happy I changed spots. Originally, I was like, you know what, might as well just stay at that first spot we did where I hit the gap over there. But after looking at the pictures of this area, I was like, holy crap, I really knew I had to come here because there's just so many cool rocks here. And it was so much fun to fly FPV. To be completely honest, this is probably my favorite spot I've ever flown FPV at so far in my career because it's just so vast here. I really like being up here on the cliffside because I have a really nice line of sight to wherever the drone may be. So I had really good connection. I was able to fly really far out and still maintain a full 50 megabits. So I was really happy, really excited about that. And honestly, probably my favorite shot of the day was when there was a group of cormorants, those little blackbirds. They were flying, probably like a group of them, like 5 or 6 of them. They were flying really close to the water and they're just kind of like, they're just going around randomly, but I was trailing right behind them. I was able to get really close to them. And honestly, those shots are gonna turn out so good because I was so close to them and they kept switching directions. At some point they were flying that way, so I was able to get some really sick backlit shots into the pink sunset. They also changed directions going this way, so I was able to get some more contrasty shots. And honestly, to be completely honest, what made this whole day for me was the sunset. About an hour ago, it was getting really cloudy and actually the weather said it might rain. So I was kind of worried that the sunset would be really lame, really dark, really cloudy, but honestly, the sunset came through. This was probably the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen in my life as well. It was so pink. It honestly looked like Hawaii. The sunset looked really similar to when I was in Maui, Hawaii. Like it was so pink, it was so purple, and all the clouds actually did a really good job of diffusing it and adding a really nice layer of contrast and haze to the image. So overall, that was really awesome. And honestly, I was looking at use case shots too. The Mavic 3 Pro performed absolutely amazing here. There's so many cool rocks here, so many cool points of interest. So I think it's gonna be really cool to kind of show you guys the comparison between the different types of shots you can get with each drone. Obviously the Mavic 3 is a lot more slower, more cinematic, more intentional, more helicopter-like, but the FPV, I mean, there's nothing like it. You really just can't compare it. I mean, I was able to fly super low. I was weaving through the rocks here. I was flying about like 2 or 3 feet above the water. And I was able to do some really cool orbits around the rocks over there. I mean, it's just a whole different style. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. Hope you guys can really kind of understand more of the differences between a more traditional Mavic 3 versus an FPV drone. But honestly, this was so much fun. I'm definitely gonna come back here in the future, but I would highly recommend flying at the beach here, flying at some cool nature spots because it's just so big here. It's so vast. It's honestly hard to wrap your head around, but with the new DJI O3 Air unit, I had really good video, really good signal for a whole mile or 2 out. I mean, I could go even farther, but the only thing limiting me was my battery life. I only had about 3 or 4 minutes with the full-size GoPro. So you gotta be really mindful of that because you do not wanna run out of battery down there. So make sure you're always watching your battery life. The Mavic 3 is obviously much better. We actually ran out of SD card space before we ran out of battery. We still have a full extra Mavic 3 battery in the car. But yeah, overall, that was really awesome, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Please be sure to hit subscribe. I'm almost at 1K now. I really need your guys' help. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Lucy's and Visuals. You guys can send me a message there if you guys have any questions about gear or anything. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.